What's up, YouTube? Welcome to the Coffee Pod. My name is Chishi Zed.
Drink the coffee, it'll make you feel better.
So guys, a lot of audio footage, screenshots, revealing conversations, statements made by Andrew Tate have been leaked online. Specifically, Vice has gone to great lengths to release audio clips, leaked footage, to promote probably some hit piece they have coming out on Andrew Tate. Now, I've released probably about 3 or 4 videos on this topic. And in almost every video, I've stated pretty much the same thing, is that it would be wrong for anybody to go off of she said, he said, people's feelings, people's experiences without any actual evidence to support the claims who were made by the alleged victims. Now, we're almost a week in, and it seems like evidence seems to be coming left and right. But what can we trust? Well, I wasn't concerned about screenshots and conversations had that, were digital, because how can you even prove that that stuff is real? But I did see a video of Andrew Tate, and you might have seen it yourself, describing his business, what he does. And I believe it's a course that I had never seen before until recently. And that's what I'm going to be reacting to in this video. So no more wasting time. Let's get it.
Trafficking, we have 3 things: force, fraud, or coercion. Force, obviously, that's like being in chains and, not being allowed to leave. Fraud, being kept there under false pretenses. If there's an element of fraud in the way that you are enticing somebody or keeping somebody in a particular position to work for you, and if it's in the sex business, that's sex trafficking. Or coercion. Let's kind of look at one of his very first videos that he did. These are his words, not my words.
When you say webcam company, people assume, oh, it's just a sex fest. But in reality, it's a shitload of people management. The HR category of the webcam business is the largest and most important thing. You're effectively taking girls, teaching them how to make unlimited money from home, and then making sure they give it all to you. Your goal is to inspire a girl to make money. So the way you're going to do that is you have to have some element of influence, and you're going to have that element of influence through her respecting you, looking up to you, and her believing she needs you. And this is extremely important, because at the beginning she will need you, but then she won't need you. But you have to keep that fallacy, keep that dream alive.
Fallacy, that's his word. And what is fallacy? Fraud.
I knew some street pimps. I've known them for a long time. Straight street pimping is a completely, in fact, no, it's not a completely different game. The psychological aspect is the same. She can't do this without you, to ensure that she doesn't do it without you. At the beginning she can, but there'll become a point she can't. But you being here, it synergizes this teamwork energy. We're gonna do this together. Yeah, you go on the camera, don't worry, I'll talk to the guys, I'm gonna talk to them, we're a team, happy, positive teamwork.
All right, so what I'm hearing so far, based on what that attorney said, is if there's an element of fraud, right? That fraud being used to keep the woman there so that she can't leave, then that falls under the umbrella of sex trafficking, right? Obviously, I am not an expert. He's explained it because he is an attorney. And I didn't want to react to audios. I didn't want to react to conversations on text, because all that stuff, in my opinion, can be highly fabricated. I wanted to react to this specific video of Andrew Tate speaking himself. Let's get back into it.
No negative energy in this business. You have to be positive. So by you typing for the girl, you maximize your money, and also she believes she needs you, which is extremely important. Another reason you use Chatterbait is because they will pay you in Bitcoin. And this is amazing, because you've all seen the thought audit shit that's going on. You've all seen the legalities of banking, trying to get money out of these sites.
So far, the attorney tried to argue that the fallacy part was him convincing her that she needs him. That seems too gray area for me so far. It seems way too gray area for me to look at that in the way he explained it and say, oh yeah, you're deceiving her because you've convinced her that she needs you. To me, that's just sales. What I'm hearing so far just sounds like sales. A salesperson convinces you that you need a product when you actually don't need it. How many things have you bought that a salesperson has convinced you that, like, hey, you need this, this will change your life, but you never use it and it doesn't actually work? Not sold so far. Let's keep listening.
to your bank without paying a shitload of tax is actually very difficult.
See, it's that whole avoiding taxes. And it's not legal to do that.
So in the last 6 months, Charity have released a Bitcoin option. So they'll pay you in Bitcoin. Tax is also another important element for controlling your woman. You're not going to pay anybody tax because you're...
Okay. I have to address that statement made by Tate right there, controlling your woman. Those are red flag statements that I've purposefully gone out of my way, especially on my channel, to say you don't control your woman. And maybe he's changed his opinion on this, but that controlling your woman definitely isn't working in his favor, right? Guys, this is, I know I'm reacting right now in real time, and I know if you're a person with sense, you're thinking to yourself, why would he say that? Let's just be honest here. And I have to be honest because in the past videos I've done, I said, if they come up with evidence and I'm watching it and I see moments where it seems like, okay, that's leaning towards potentially illegal based on the definition of trafficking or fraud, right? Or people said tax evasion was another thing that I think this video gets into. He shouldn't have said that. Because I do not believe men should control women, personally myself. And I don't believe women should control men. More on that later. Let's keep listening.
You're paid in Bitcoin, so you don't need to pay tax to anybody. Tell your girl that you're paying the tax. Because girls are lazy, and girls are stupid, and girls don't understand how taxes work. So the girl's working with you, and you're like, oh, okay, yeah, we made this much money, but I'm going to pay the tax to make sure we don't get in trouble. She'll sit there and go, okay. Now that allows you to do two things. One, it's another control element. If I work with him, my tax is not a problem. If I do it alone, I have to deal with taxes. Taxes are complicated. It allows you to pay her a smaller percentage.
Okay, so there he just submitted to another element of fraud. Gentlemen, have an honest conversation with me here in the comment section down below. I know I am not the only person who heard this and said, my God, Andrew Tate, why? Why on camera are you... Because let's be very honest about this. We know these things happen. We know people use the blockchain to keep money because it's decentralized and, not regulated currently, right? Probably will be in the future by the government. We know that's common. It's happening, of course. But the element in this that's definitely wrong is him saying, I told them I was paying their taxes. So now they think their taxes are being paid, but they're not. So that means they're responsible, still held accountable for those taxes just because they trusted his word and he's lying. So again, that falls under the category of fraud, which then gets linked to the trafficking thing because he's in the sex work industry. This is wrong. This is wrong. And listen to me very carefully, man. People are incapable of separating two things: the way someone decides to handle their business and the value that they bring to people around them in general. I believe Andrew Tate overall has been a net positive to most men as far as impact, right? As far as impact. And listen, I don't know Andrew Tate personally, but what I wasn't going to do in prior videos was just jump on board because the man encourages men to be masculine and label him as, oh, you're wrong because of that. But I want to be clear and remind everybody, this is very careful to know, is that while I do acknowledge it in this part of his life, how he's handled himself in business in relation to the women he was working with, while I can still acknowledge that what he did was wrong, I can separate that from his very positive impact and his message of him teaching men how to take responsibility of their lives and embrace their masculinity and to work hard. But I know for a fact that that's not what most people will do. That's not what most people will do. Most people are going to blanket a message of men being strong, a message of men being responsible, a message of men not allowing their emotions to take over them, to be ambitious. They will also mix that in with, oh, then you must be dangerous. You must be sexist. And that's why right now the flashlight is on Andrew Tate. Is if we can mix him up with the positive masculinity message, well, then everybody will associate being masculine or encouraging men to be masculine with being toxic. I do not agree that the two things go hand in hand, and you got to be careful out here, man, that you don't mix the two in your perspective. Let's keep listening.
So I used to pay my girls 30%. So for every $10,000 they made, I'd give them 3, and I'd keep 7. They thought they were on 50%. And I said that the disparity is because of taxes. So you're on 50%, we get to pay the tax first, and then it's 50-50. So really you're paying 30, you tell them you're paying 50, the difference is in the tax. That's where the disparity lies, taxes. If they don't believe you or they want to get fresh or whatever, print out some tax forms. I do this all the time. I used to print out some random tax forms and say, yeah, sign here and sign this. What is it? It's for the tax. You want to pay the tax or not? Ooh, okay, and they just sign away. They don't know what they're signing. Let's throw them away afterwards. But they think something's happening. Something real is happening. Nothing's happening except me get rich.
A part of me is wondering why Andrew Tate didn't think to himself that this video in specific may resurface and come and kind of bite him in the butt, especially considering just how there's so many gray areas when it comes to like the sex worker thing. And the difference, by the way, between Andrew Tate and the other guys who are involved in that business is he's impacting men positively and encouraging them to embrace the masculinity and be strong. The other guys, they're not going against the establishment, so to speak, right? But on top of that, to create a course, not only to lie to the women, but also to get on that course and sell that course, publish it, put it on the internet. I'm surprised. I am surprised. Let's keep listening.
Real's happening. Nothing's happening except me get rich. You have to, girls. You cannot do a business relationship with a female, and I'll tell you why. Women have sex with somebody. If they're not fucking you, they're fucking somebody else. And that other person she's fucking is going to have the control over her mind as opposed to you. And if he controls her mind and you don't control her mind, once she starts to pick it up a bit after a few weeks, a few months, whatever, and realizes how to make money on her own, or she's going to run off and pay her boyfriend, or them two are going to go traveling in Southeast Asia and she's going to work as she goes, or she's going to go to her boyfriend and say, look, fight for me. Oh yeah, but you're always working. I have to do some traveling and you can't come. I want to bring you with me.
I want to talk about something he said there about the controlling a woman's mind, because I think this is an important topic. There's the conversation of men who don't want their women to go out every night and party, get drunk. And women hear that and say, well, you're controlling. And I remember getting invited on a podcast, and it was a really good podcast, the Pod Bros. Go check them out. But the conversation came up of, what do you do if you're with a woman or you're dealing with a woman and you don't want her to go out every night? You don't want her to go out on girls' trips. What happens? How do you tell her that she can't do that? And I thought about the way that was worded and said, listen, you can't make any woman do anything. You can't control a woman. You can't tell her what she can't or can do. But what you should do as a man is communicate up front before getting involved with any woman and say, hey, for the type of relationship I'm looking for, I want to be with the type of woman that doesn't go out every night, because I don't go out every night, right? I want to be with the type of woman that's not going to go out on dates with guys just because they're friends and get drunk around them. And you want to have that conversation up front. And in order for her to want a relationship with you, she's got to be okay with that. If she's not okay with that, then obviously you do not have a relationship with that woman. And of course, in order to do that, you have to have leverage, or you have to have an element about you that women find attractive. But it's not about telling a girl what she can or cannot do. This is why it's important for men to have conversations with women from the start. You know what she's looking for. She knows what you're looking for. This is the same with the guy who's like maybe religious. It's like, hey, I am a religious man and I'd want you to go to church with me. Maybe she doesn't want to go to church. Well, then that's obviously not a good idea. You guys should not get in a relationship together. But the important thing is communication beforehand. The idea of she can't do this or control your woman is not practical, and nobody should be controlling anybody. If a woman is doing whatever she wants, irrespective of your belief system or whatever you think, how you view the world, then that's your time to walk away. That's your superpower as a man, is being able to walk away and knowing that, hey, I can walk away from the situation. I can find somebody who will complement what I'm looking for. Now, with all that being said, one thing that I just have to say this. All these women that are coming out with all these voice recordings of Andrew saying, talking explicitly. It's obvious that Andrew Tate, when it came to sex and things of that nature, he dealt with some women who enjoyed sex on the rougher side. In fact, one of them actually spoke out in defense of him and said, "We like to role play." Cool. You'd be crazy to not think that these women did not know that before getting involved with Andrew Tate. You'd be crazy to assume that they didn't get an idea of what Andrew Tate was kind of into in the bedroom, right? And you'd be crazy to think that some of those women didn't enjoy that. I definitely think there's an element here of women who were frustrated, hurt, maybe felt like they wanted more money than they got. And now this is their opportunity to Me Too him. Again, this is the danger of being involved in sex work. And we're experiencing the far reach of the Me Too movement. It has no borders, right? Let's keep listening.
Traveling is a great one because the thing about this business is mobile. If you can find a good Airbnb with good internet, you can run it somewhere else. So it's a good little caveat to throw in. You're always working. Why don't you work for me so we spend more time together? Work for you doing what? Say, I'll have a webcam business. Oh, I don't want to do that. So, okay, I know you don't want to do that, but listen, come, let's have a meeting. Let's just talk about it. If you don't want to do it, don't do it. Fine. But let me explain it to you properly. In fact, I'll bring one of the girls who works for me. Your bottom bitch, the new girl, you go out for dinner. Your bottom bitch is the one who does the selling. You don't do the selling. The girl has to hear from a girl. And this is why your bottom bitch has to be trained. That's why I said it's so important to have a good first girl.
Also, when you're a real G, is that you're here, you're there, you're everywhere. You gotta go to Poland, you gotta go to Warsaw, Dubai, Miami. Anyone who watches State Confidential knows I'm all over the place. So I end up with all these chicks just stuck in their house, sitting there, bored, completely in love with me. And of course, they don't go out. They're not allowed out. You stay in the house. You don't go nowhere. You're not, no restaurants, no clubs, nothing.
All right, guys, that's about it. So that's my reaction to this new Andrew Tate resurfacing video of him definitely explaining how he defrauded some women and also avoided paying taxes, which both are illegal. Now, some of you may be thinking, well, Chisha, how can you say that Andrew Tate is a net positive for men if he's done some dishonest things in his life? Well, now I want to be clear about a couple of things. Is number one, I don't think Andrew Tate has raped anybody, right? I don't think that's him. This narrative that Vice is definitely going to try to push to make Andrew Tate the worst possible version of what the media wants him to be, which is like a guy who's out here forcing women and raping them. I don't believe that. I believe what I've seen in this video, and I do acknowledge that this is wrong and is evidence enough for those women to want to press charges on Andrew Tate. And I do believe there should be accountability here if proven true in the court of law. My final point, and a lot of people won't like this, I definitely do believe that Andrew Tate, for most men, impact he's had on men, has been a net positive. And the reason why a lot of young men will still support him comes down to one thing: a paradigm shift. Andrew Tate introduced a paradigm shift to young men who were struggling with finding their way, struggling with motivation in a world where they were lost, right? Didn't know how to navigate the dating market, more competitive than ever, were lazy, had no ambition. He sparked a paradigm shift in a lot of young men's minds. What's a paradigm shift? Well, if you're unfamiliar with that, it's a change in the way that you see the world. And it may sound light to a lot of people out here who don't get it. But once somebody has changed the way you see the world, that person is unforgettable in most cases. And usually paradigm shifts are the most impactful when they empower you and they are positive. So what I mean by this is Andrew Tate has almost single-handedly, right, as far as like a figure goes, I know there's a lot of people working in the background, but he's positively impacted the way a lot of young men see the world. He's empowered them to look at themselves differently with power, that they are capable. And this is why a lot of young men are going to still appreciate his impact in their lives, right? And if you've experienced this, you know exactly what I'm talking about. A person who's come into your life and kind of changed the way you see it in a positive way, they're hard to forget, which is why I know a lot of men will still view him as a positive impact overall, right? Even in my comment section down below, regardless of what has happened. But I had to make this video and give my honest take because it would be disingenuous, hypocritical, etc. of me to not give my honest take. I said if there's evidence that comes out and I look at it and I say, you know what, this seems legit, there's nothing more legit than him explaining how he's handled his business in the past. Now again, all that other stuff of him being a rapist and beating up women, I don't believe it, right? I don't know what's going to happen next. I, of course, wish the best for everybody involved. And listen, one more thing. On my channel, the goal is to raise awareness of the current dating market and awareness of female nature and awareness of male nature. These are very touchy subjects a lot of the times, but it's an effort so that men and women can come together and work well together. But it's an effort so that men can be aware of the current status of the dating market, what's happening, not so that they are disappointed or give up, but so that they're empowered and have a better understanding of how to improve their life positively. I'm a believer, and I always have been, that men and women complement each other and they work well together. Listen, guys, as always, curious to know what you think. Leave your comments down below. I appreciate you for checking out yet another episode of The Coffee Pot. Till next time, I'm out. Peace.